STEEP stands for Synergetic Training Network on Energy Beam Processing. It is a Marie Curie project that involves 10 full partners and 18 associate partners all around Europe. 12 early-stage researchers and 5 experienced researchers are involved in it.
The aim of the project is to create a common platform to model 3 different energy beams used on micromachining. The project is split in 2 stages. The first, that includes the modeling, the material analysis, and the math and computer science support. And the second, that includes the validation and the platform integration.
Abrasive water jet machining is an industrial process capable of cutting almost any kind of material. It starts by pressurizing a stream of water with an ultra-high pressure pump. This water is then pushed through a dual orifice, adding velocity to the jet. At this stage, the jet entrains abrasive particles, and the mixture is then focused with a long focusing tube, delivering a high-power mixture of air, particles, and water.
Abrasive water jet machining are widely used in industry for cutting different kinds of material, such as granite and advanced superalloy. This technology is used in many different industrial fields, such as automotive, aerospace, oil and gas. Compared to other energetic beam, it offers more versatility since it can cut a wide range of material and offer high removal rate. However, due to the large size of the beam, it limits the dimension of the piece that can be produced with this technology, as well as the accuracy of the machining process.
LASER stands for light amplification by stimulated emission of radiation, which means we have a small amount of energy in a resonator which we use to amplify this amount of energy. When we release it, it comes out in a form of a monochromatic light, which is confined to a very small space. This means that we can use it to cut and pattern because it is very, very, very energetic when it reaches an object. So we can generally use it for micromachining.
Laser material removal is a contactless process, so it means that there is no contact between the machine and the samples. Moreover, there are several other advantages to use laser. For instance, you can interact in a different way with the sample because of the wavelength or the pulse duration. However, the laser pulse removal rate is much smaller compared to the other energy beams.
The focused ion beam technique uses a focused off ion beam to scan the surface of a specimen, analogous to the way electrons are used in scanning electron microscope. The bombardment of ions to the surface generates secondary electrons, ions, and sputtered materials. Secondary electrons can be used to obtain high spatial resolution in situ images. The presence of both focused ion beam and scanning electron microscope in one system is usually known as dual beam FIB tool.
Focused ion beam systems have been mostly in use in the semiconductor industry. The major advantage of this system is that it is possible to both mill and image simultaneously. Major applications of this system are in failure analysis, circuit and device modification, and repairing of photomasks. New applications developed in this field are in ion beam lithography and applications related to micromachining.
Conventional FIB milling can cause several problems such as redeposition, swelling of the substrate, and the non-ideal beam shape can partially affect the micromachining process. Redeposition in itself can cause several problems such as reduction in the net removal rate and creating unwanted structures. Within this project, we try to find some solutions for these challenges.
All the machining processes studied in STEEP involve the interaction between a removal beam and a sample. We considered the different cases: a stationary jet, a jet moving with a constant speed along a sample, and the variation of jet's feed speed. For all these cases, we are able to calibrate the unknown model parameters and to reconstruct the shape geometry.
Nonlinear partial differential equation describes the evolution of material surface under the energy beam impact. The mathematical model contains a set of unknown parameters which need to be identified and calibrated. The cost function is used for the identification process. It performs by minimizing the difference between the experimental observations and the prediction of surface geometry obtained by approximation of numerical solution.
It's also possible to apply computer science to energy beam simulation problems. We have applied artificial neural network to the simulation of post-laser ablation. After being trained, the neural network is able to generate the right parameters for the POA model. And the usage of the neural network has improved the performance of the model significantly. It's also flexible and easy to extend to other materials and input parameters.
The optical, thermal and mechanical properties, as well as composition and microstructure of machine materials, are critical parameters affecting the material removal mechanisms. That is why it's very important to characterize, analyze and quantify these properties, deepening the understanding of beam-matter interaction.
Energetic beams behave differently depending on the type of materials with which they interact. The material properties which have the strongest influence varies with the energetic beam in question. For example, optical and thermal properties are most relevant when investigating laser ablation, while chemical properties play a central role in focused ion beam milling, and the mechanical properties are critical when assessing water jet milling.
Many materials' properties can be determined using non-destructive X-ray techniques. Energy dispersive X-ray spectroscopy and X-ray fluorescence can be used to determine the chemical composition of a workpiece, while information regarding the phases present within the material, their crystalline structure, and crystal orientation can be readily obtained using X-ray diffraction. In cases where minuscule volumes of material need to be analyzed, more complex transmission electron microscopy is required.
Further to the development of energy beam models, a systematic validation practice has to be undertaken on different workstations under wide ranges of process conditions. The intention is to demonstrate their effectiveness to generate complex micro and macro parts. However, this also enables identifying the sources of inaccuracies and thus develop proper corrective actions. The objective of such phase is to maximize the outcomes of the proposed model for successful industrial implementations.
EBSIM is a dedicated software platform for prediction of footprints and workpiece surface in energy beam processes, including water jet, laser, and focused ion beam. It displays the final 3D machine surface by integrating the footprint profiles in each time step, and includes the calibration part for each model to upgrade the relevant parameters based on specific experimental data. To make the software be general purpose for most energy beam machining process, it also allows users to modify models or integrate an alternative energy beams.